We'll all rise. We're going to have, who's doing the pledge this morning?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Heavenly Father, as we come to this meeting of this government business and financials for this county, give us guidance like you did with the forefathers that started this nation as we celebrate this days of coming up of independence and glorification of this government and what it stood for. And as with the forefathers, in God we trust, give us guidance and wisdom in all the decisions that we do at this meeting. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Okay, first order of business this morning is to approve the minutes. And you'll have to excuse me, my voice is a little.
I make a motion to approve the minutes last meeting.
Have a motion, have a second.
Second.
All those in favor signify by raising your hand. Vote unanimous. Okay, first order of business this morning is Mr. Wright.
Thank you, Mr. Baldwin. I'm here this morning representing Critical Access Health Services Corporation, which is the Chapter 11 debtor possession of Washington County Memorial Hospital, which of course is under lease and purchase option with St. Vincent Salem Hospital Incorporated. And it turns out that there's still a little bit of unfinished business in the real estate titles at the hospital, and I believe it's going to require the participation of the county commissioners and county council, which I can briefly explain, but to help you visualize this, I'm going to distribute right now just an aerial photograph with some property boundaries outlined, so we can see what we're talking about. And three of the present council members were part of all this process, and we had 4 council members who have been elected since then who were not. But basically what it amounted to is that we had Washington County Memorial Hospital, which was a public entity. And the county hospital law stated that if the public entity transferred the real estate to a not-for-profit hospital, that took a public hearing jointly conducted by the county commissioners, county council, and the hospital board at that time. So as part of the process in preparation for Chapter 11, my Critical Access Health Services Corporation was formed. And then we had 2 different public hearings and resolutions where the Commissioners Council and the Hospital Board at the time transferred British real estate to Critical Access Health Services Corporation. And again, that's the entity subject to the Chapter 11 board who have made the purchase option of St. Vincent Salem Hospital Incorporated. At the time the first resolution was adopted, why the county wanted to hold back title to property that was in the name of the county itself. So in the first resolution, the property was transferred was what was owned by something called the Washington County Hospital Association, which had then been transferred to the Washington County Memorial Hospital. So the tracts that were involved in that were the 2 crosshatched pieces here. The tract at the top, at the time, I don't think it was realized, was titled in the name of the Washington County Hospital Association, which was a mistake from years ago. In the resolution that was then passed, once the Chapter 11 proceeding was known how it was going to go, and once it was known basically how the Medicare recovery cost obligations were going to be settled, why then the Commissioners, Council, and Hospital Board at the time then jointly transferred all the rest of the real estate, but what's highlighted in green here got left out of that. In fact, it should have been included in the first resolution. So it is covered in the Chapter 11 proceedings, but frankly the title of it has never been formally deeded by the Washington County Hospital Association to Critical Access Health Services Corporation. Washington County Hospital Association was a statutory holding corporation that held title to certain real estate in order to finance the construction of it. In 2005, the hospital association was convened so that Dr. Anderson could get title to his condo, and that's what this property is all about. The condo is located on the north side of Homer Street across the hospital. Why the hospital association at that time attempted to deed what it owned to Washington Memorial Hospital. It turns out that the description in that deed, which was intended to describe the condo, described everything else but the condo. So as we were getting ready to complete the Chapter 11 plan, I had the county commissioners quit claiming its interest in that condo property to critical access, but that still was not the release of the interest of the title holding entity, which is Washington Memorial Hospital. So tomorrow I'm asking the commissioners under the statute to reconstitute the hospital association so they can have their directors appointed, so then they can basically do a deed of correction to release their title interest in that condo to critical access. Just to be safe, because the hospital association is a creature of the county hospital law, I think we need a public hearing to authorize the transfer and release of interest in that condo to critical access of the council, commissioners, and the hospital board. So that's what I'm basically asking you to do today, to schedule that public hearing. I've discussed this with Tom Cyphers, the commissioner's attorney, and he thinks it would be easier to get 3 commissioners to come to a scheduled meeting of the 7 council members rather than trying to get 7 council members to come to a meeting of the 3 commissioners. So I'm asking that on your agenda for the next meeting is what, the 6th of August, that this public hearing be held. You can schedule the beginning of the meeting, the end of the meeting. If you do that, I've got the notices prepared, and I'll explain that to the commissioners tomorrow. But it's just cleaning up the real estate title to the condos. And what's precipitated this is, of course, it is part of the purchase option that St. Vincent's could exercise in 2015. But right now, Dr. Anderson is selling his condo unit, and in order to get that title straightened out, that's why we're doing it. So it'll benefit that transaction, and it'll benefit the ultimate transaction for the other condo units, which are owned by critical access as successful measures to Washington Memorial Hospital.
I mean, it's really, I guess, none of our business who Dr. Anderson's selling to. But whoever buys that, will they have clear title to it?
That's the purpose of this.
Okay.
Is there any restrictions on who could buy? Could I buy, I mean, I'm not there, could I buy that property and put in whatever?
No.
There are restrictions in 3 different documents. They're reasonably consistent, but basically it would have to be a physician licensed to practice medicine in Indiana.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, that's good. John, on this session we're talking about, you guys want to get this out of the way early on in the next meeting? Come early, or you want to come late and do that? What works best for you guys? I'm almost at the decision we ought to just go ahead and schedule it for the first thing and get that out of the way.
It doesn't matter to me, but probably for the rest of them, but, you know, they're.
Early, so we'd schedule that for the first thing.
9:30.
Yeah, we'll do it at 9:30. Is there any other further questions for Drew at this time? All right, if there's no further questions, we'll set that up and get the matter taken care of there, obviously.
Well, I'll go ahead and get the notice published after we have the commissioners approve that part of it. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay. Next on the agenda is the additional appropriations. Excuse me. We'll do these individually here. But have you got the explanation of this?
Yes.
We do? Okay. Is this the explanation or what's this
That's
one?
for,
Okay. Let's do the one for, it's gonna be the one for the $800, the personal services, $800, and the explanation here is it will be necessary to acquire additional appropriations from 4906 home detention fund in the amount of $800 distributed as 4906-000-01-001. I guess that's HIP coordinator. What's the HIP stand for?
Home incarceration.
Okay. Probation officer salary. It will be necessary to acquire additional appropriations from the 4911 urine screen test fund to the line item 4900-03-002 in urine screen test fund to cover the billing of the rent of the 2012 budget. And that kind of covers the next one that's going to come up. So that's kind of the explanation for both of these.
Apparently the newest probation officer, probably because of the passage of time, is entitled under the criminal justice rules to a month of pay. That's what the $800 is.
And what's the 9,000, what's the services and other charges?
The 9,000,
It's to pay the rent. It's that 9,000 last year. We found out that it's under the urine test, but that's what they pay us with, so we really want them to pay it.
it's paying money from the user fees into the county general fund.
I really want them.
Where the rent goes.
Okay, do I have a motion on here? Yes, sir.
You say bump and pay, is that tied with what?
That's tied with those state guidelines.
From the sheriff?
No. Remember under probation,
Probation, okay.
1 to 4 years, if you have a
Okay.
bachelor degree, or if you have a master's degree, you get
So apparently.
I'm gonna say, this is, I spoke with Michelle, and she showed me the letter. I think this is their newest probation officer, and she's probably passed a full 1 year.
Okay.
So she's entitled to a bump. She's off of, I don't wanna use the probationary word, but she's been there long enough that under the state
Okay.
guidelines.
So our
she's
hands
entitled.
are tied.
Basically, your hands are tied.
You don't have any choice.
In that case,
Yeah.
In that case,
Exactly
do I have
right.
a motion to approve?
I'll second.
Got a second. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Okay, we'll do the $9,000 one next, which is the, I just read it here. It's the urine screen test fund for, to pay the rent on the building,
that comes to us, right?
on their office.
Comes into the county general fund.
Yes. Any discussion on that before we ask for a motion? Do I have a motion to approve? Got a motion? A second. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. And the last one we got here is, the Washington County Board of Commissioners is requesting an additional appropriation in amount of $32,260 from the Cumulative Capital Development Fund 1138-000-02-002, building equipment repairs miscellaneous for repairs to the court road. So this additional $32,260 is to finalize that last
Yes.
section of the road.
The flat part.
Okay, any discussion on
What
that?
we end up total figure, John, on that?
That was around that, plus, roof was about 180, wasn't it, Sarah? Itself,
Yeah.
Yeah.
just-
the roof was about 180, and then this was the rubber part, the flat part was cracking the material.
The total cost for the rubber replacement was 32 repairs.
Was
Yes.
Flat part, yeah. Rest of the next one, paid it, Sarah.
Yes.
What kind of guarantee did you get with that?
30 or 40, which was it, Sarah?
I don't know.
30 or 40 years, I think, if I remember.
What was
Well, we're good at business, different stay in business.
Well, I thought it was actually more than that to start with. I know-
Was it more than 32 to start with?
No.
No.
You mean the other figure, Dawson? You mean the big figure?
The big figure was, yes, it estimated quite a bit more than that.
Right.
That the initial part of the courthouse was estimated around 215 to 225,000 was the figure on that. So they got down to 180 on that, but then
Okay.
this additional flat roof come on. Because,
Kind of put it back in for.
yeah, because they originally weren't gonna touch that flat roof, and then after they inspected it more, they decided that it needed to.
Was that replaced or repaired?
Because it replaced it. That was cracked and deteriorated.
Yeah, I think they kind of tore everything out, did they not, back down and put it back up?
And I think there was some copper sold there, brought in 8,000 or 9,000, Sarah.
5,800.
Yeah, it's still under
5,800 from, there's some copper that was sold to replace that.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I second.
Motion and second. All those in favor, signify by raising your right hand. Okay, next thing on the agenda this morning is, we're moving right along here, is the auditor budget information.
Well, first thing, we need to set a public hearing and a budget adoption date. You can do your public hearing between October 1st through the 22nd, and your budget adoption anywhere from October 12th to November 1st. November 1st is the absolute last day you can adopt.
So what's those dates again?
Public
Hearing
hearing,
can be October 1st.
October 1st through the 22nd,
Okay.
and adoption, October 12th through November 1st.
And they're meeting in November.
October first is your regular meeting, isn't it? It's the first Monday. It's in on it.
Yeah, you miss it in November. You'll have to have it prior to that meeting. But yeah, you can have your public hearing on your regular
Regular meeting.
meeting.
We've toyed with that, gentlemen, in the past about morning, night. Some years we've had a lot of people there, some years we haven't.
We sure have.
I mean, it just kind of becomes whatever the hot budget issue is that year.
What's the thoughts of the council?
So we start, the budget hearings will be August
15th to the
15th,
17th.
16th, and
We
17th.
have to have a hearing on the 1st of October, or we could have,
You could have, yeah.
and then we have to have another hearing adopted before the end of the month.
Right before November 1st.
So you gotta have two hearings.
And
Or, I'm sorry, in October.
In October.
You have to have two in
Our
October.
regular meeting's the proper time to have that.
I think the first one, yeah, and then the adoption, we just have to set a meeting sometime whenever.
So we want to do the public hearing at the regular meeting October the 1st.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
I think we just do this with
Yeah, so,
consensus.
And then,
Then the
We don't know
adoption,
yet on the next one.
10 days. Right,
10 days after the,
10 days after the,
you can have
public
it, 10
hearing.
days after.
Which would be the 10th, which would be Wednesday, but you could come back here.
I got the 10th or the 11th.
what
Yeah,
days would
the
be those?
Wednesday, Thursday. I mean, you could go you could go into the month of, or week of the 15th if you wanted to, right?
Yeah.
I mean, as long as you get it done by 31st. You want to
Any
come
thoughts
back
on
on
that?
that Monday, or?
Do we need to check the
Well, yeah, I'll
availability of
have
this
to
room
check
and
the
all that stuff
availability.
prior
I don't
to
think we need.
making too many decisions?
Bring a calendar.
Why don't we shoot for the 10th, that's a Wednesday? Does that work?
What works for
Has
myself?
it got to be
Well, it
10
has to be
days
10
after?
days, so you
So
have
if
to
you're on
have,
the
it gotta
first,
be
you're
after
probably
the
better
10th.
looking at the 11th or 12th, quite frankly. If you want to do it as
Yeah.
quickly as you can, I mean, that'd be my advice.
Whenever.
October 11th.
11?
11th would be a
Well,
Thursday.
do we have to make up our mind today?
You don't have to. You might as well.
Well, we probably should for planning
Shoot for the
purposes.
11th,
Probably should do it in that way, we can all shoot for that date.
shoot for the 11th.
Well, let's see where we're at on,
The only thing is, after, if you're trying to do it somewhat quickly, and I'm not saying not to, but, I mean, if you get into your public hearing on the 1st, and there's some issue, I have no idea what it'd be, but there's some issue, and you wanted to meet again to deal with that issue, doing it on the 11th, I mean, you're not giving yourself much time for a special meeting to come back and reconsider your budgets.
Well, we do it, set it on the 17th then, the next Wednesday.
Well, we've
Yeah.
got it, we've got it.
Night or day?
Neither.
let's
Night or
wait.
day, when do you want to?
Well, October 17th.
You got anything 17th?
October 17th?
October 17th.
So 17th is
October-
completely clear whether you wanted to do it night or day.
October 11th, there's already something that evening.
Okay, so,
17th.
You wanna do it tonight?
On motion, I move we meet on the night at 6 o'clock, then too early.
I'm flexible.
Wednesday night, the 17th.
October 17th at 6 o'clock?
That's a Wednesday night, there will be some church. Yeah, church issue.
What about
We
daytime?
can do another night, I just said the 17th, because that was about a week
What about
later.
daytime?
That's fine. I mean, that far ahead, I think, you know,
Or
if I can get their schedule.
The 18th, which is Thursday night, it's available.
6 o'clock on Thursday night?
Very good time.
That's fine.
Okay.
So October 18th. 6 o'clock.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
And, Pam, can she go ahead and tell? We don't have much more, do we? Well, you wanna go around the room though.
Well, she can come on over and,
She come on, have, Danelle come on.
Well, there's more than just.
right, we're gonna continue.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not ready yet. I'm sorry, Michelle.
Okay. I handed you all out earlier an email from the DLGF, our rep. Plus, I also gave you an additional handout for your budget called Cadgett County Certified Shares. The email, with the implementation of the new chart of accounts comes a requirement that income tax money be put in a separate fund. Therefore, starting with your 2013 budget, you will no longer show your certified shares revenue going into your general fund. We had to create a separate fund. You will then have to decide which expenses you are going to shift to that fund out of the general fund. You will need to make that determination before you put your general fund budget together. So she was sending us a reminder. So,
What you passed out does reflect those changes. that you-
Sarah, not that big one right there.
Okay.
The handout I gave you this morning, Sarah and I sat down and we created that new fund. And then we picked three,
somebody approve that.
well, I mean, this is.
It's gotta be done.
Yeah, this is all, this budget that I handed out this morning is hypothetical, the Cadgett. We took 3 big ticket items out of the commissioner's budget, is what you see in here.
And what were those three?
The insurance,
Okay, that was the 850,
that was $850,
okay.
the building and structure insurance, which is $300, and the ambulance service, which is $300. So that creates that budget of 1.4 million. And that's where the certified shares will come into. They will no longer go into county general.
Should have gotten this instead of this. Or should
I
I?
gave you one,
I threw it away with the other
but
stuff.
you can have.
Thank you. Sorry, it's there. All right, started to say that, and members wouldn't have it.
And this is just, like I said, this is just hypothetical. I mean,
Yeah.
you guys may want to put from a completely different fund or a completely, you know,
Yeah, you
Where,
might want
you know,
to use
it's-
other expenses.
yeah,
out of
you may
county
want to put
general.
other expenses in there besides what we just went to the big ticket items and put them in there.
And Sarah's gonna
Make it
talk to
easy.
the commissioners about it tomorrow, because we just found this out last Wednesday, Thursday, so this was a,
So was there an explanation as to why they wanted to, normally we just put this into general fund.
they are
Right.
trying to take the tax burden
Off
off
of
of county generals. The- Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, again, it's not like
On
a,
paper,
on
yeah.
paper. It gives you a more accurate reflection of really what your property tax is bringing in for your general fund and your income taxes are bringing in for your income tax funds. I
Okay,
mean,
that's the only thing. I
it
can
really,
see.
accounting wise, sits those out, which in the past you've had to go into the auditor's
Yeah,
office and
back it
ask
out.
them to kind of back it out.
Sorted out.
Yeah.
Was that 1.45 million? Is that actually what we've been guaranteed?
No, not for next year. I mean, I had, actually, this is lower than what we're getting this year. This year it was 6 million in certified shares, so I backed it down to 1.4 because I have no clue what they'll do next year.
Yeah, that's a rolling deal, how they get to that, so.
Yeah, I mean, I have no clue, so we backed.
The only
it
thing
to
we might
1.4.
know by the time budget hearings, we might know by then what
Yeah.
what the certified shares will be.
We just about.
And
have
we
to
may
go
not
over
even
the
know by
budget
then.
toward that.
Do we need to take any action on this, really? I mean,
No, I mean.
Not right now, this
the
is,
commissioners will propose a budget for it, and
Yeah,
yeah,
it would end up as part of that. It was just the.
I mean,
Well, actually, no, I don't know who's gonna propose the budget, who's gonna be, I don't know if the,
Ultimately, we'll have to.
Yeah,
we'll
ultimately, you'll have to
it or
approve the
do it.
budget.
I mean, it's kinda like what we've done for the last couple of years with the Riverboat deal. I mean, worked with the Riverboat Wage Share, worked with them about which organizations and do we use it for kind of grant purposes or not grant purposes. I mean, kinda have to sit down and both of us look at what do we, or like we do with probation user fees. What do we wanna shift out of county general and put into a user fee deal?
Right.
I mean, we've done that with those fees for several years.
Like I said,
That's
we
what we're
just
gonna have to do
picked-
now.
the big
Yeah.
ticket items
yeah,
out
we
of the
just took out
commissioner's
these as
budget.
saying that,
I mean, if you wanna go into the commissioner's budget, pull something else out and put this one back in, you can.
Yeah,
yeah.
I think you're better off undershooting the amount you're gonna get
Sure,
than over.
sure, absolutely.
Just leave this as it is for right now. For our
yeah, I mean, like I said, this was just an example to give you an idea of what needs to happen. Because it was kind of it was kind of sprung on us,
Yeah. I don't see a problem with it.
but she'll talk, or Sarah will talk with them tomorrow and.
And they may change it. They may
Yeah.
say, leave the ambulance in the general fund and let's
And
shift
move something
Yeah.
else.
something else in.
Was we gonna have to do some kind of a new line item, Sarah, for training for newly elected employees or something?
The way I understand it, the way I understand it, that is coming from the reporters with their money
The
they
redacted
collect,
fee,
their
the
fees or
redacted
something
fee.
they collect, that's going to be used for training or something. Now, that's how I
got it also.
got it.
But I never got to ask the question, so would you mind, do we need to set up a new line item for that, or do we just use that?
Well, it'd just be what her, and I have that one of the fees that she collects,
Yeah, it's
so,
the redaction fee that.
I would think you could just do a claim.
yeah, you just do a claim out of it,
Because I
yeah.
think we have to, if you're elected now and you're in, well, they had a couple more offices that you specifically have to be trained in that position. So, we'd have to pay for that.
But I was thinking it just affected, like maybe the auditor and the treasurer and
The auditor and the treasurer,
And the clerk, I don't know if the clerk, I don't think the clerk was even in that, and the recorder
recorder's in there, treasurer's in there,
and the auditor was in there.
auditor's in there. And I'm not sure about, but I almost thought the clerk was in there also.
I know, maybe the clerk was in there also too. I know it wasn't every office or every elected office, but I knew that those were, I thought those were the ones that it would affect.
Anything else that we should?
Yeah, just one more thing real quick. The budget hearings, we're gonna do August 15th through the 17th, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., right? What time do you want me to block out for lunch?
Lunchtime.
Well, let's see, I normally go lunch at 12:30, so,
I know
We're starting at 8 and going to 5.
uh-huh.
I think an hour and a half for lunch is not too much to ask.
Do you want me to start it at noon? Okay.
Noon to 1:30.
Noon to 1:30, okay. And I think that's all we had as far as budget stuff, wasn't it?
I think so.
Okay.
Do you want to, want it done, cast and turn? Are we gonna do that again in terms of,
Oh,
if somebody wants to submit a budget, and they've basically not made any change other than salary, we don't take exception if you don't wanna come, we've done that last couple of years, I don't know how best to, it's not that we don't want
When
them to
somebody
come.
come in, they let them know and they invite them in.
If, that's right.
Well, I think since we got these, we may wanna review these,
Sure.
and at our next meeting, decide who we might want to come in. Is that too
Yeah,
close?
August.
Michelle,
We'd have August to do that.
since, is it to the understanding that the townships are gonna be putting their budgets into a different system, that it will not come to our budget hearings initially?
You're still gonna get the one slip of paper for your non-binding reviews after they do their budget workshops with the
And when will
DLT.
that happen?
That's in July.
That's the
middle
week
July.
of the 12th,
Yeah, it's 10th, 11th, and
10th,
12th.
11th, and 12th.
So we will see them at the
I'm,
start.
I'm hoping at your budget hearings.
So what is our discretion to have those township trustees to come in and give us review if we have questions?
I can send letters to them. And
Well, I mean, we won't know that till we see that.
I know the last day for you to give a recommendation on the non-binding is October 1st.
Okay. So we could ask for them to come into the October 1st meeting to review their budget? Is this what I'm telling, is what you're telling me?
Yeah,
When's the last day?
I think October 1st. I think it'd be better in
Well,
September.
Better to come in September meeting.
Yeah.
The thing is that
Which will
some
be
of
the
the,
fourth.
some of the townships, when we asked, they took, thought they were being discriminated, but it's at our discretion to just ask for verification.
I mean,
on some.
the best
So
I
I'm
can
not
do-
asking for
yeah.
all of them to come in, we might ask for individual budgets.
I can,
Is that at our discretion to do that?
You've got to review all of them.
Well,
But
we review all of them,
Right.
we have
But if you
questions.
have questions about individuals, you can decide which ones you
And
want to
just
bring.
like any other head or anything of submitted budget, if they don't come in when we review it, that we see that we need more disclosure from them, we can ask them to come in, correct?
Right.
No different.
you can ask them,
All
yeah.
right. I just want to have that as an understanding.
Yeah, you can ask.
Well, what would that do if we don't approve it? But
You don't make a determination to approve it or not, you simply make a recommendation to the township board or advisory board to change their budget. If they don't want to, then nothing happens.
Last two times, we had sent in a water, we're not approved.
And I don't know what the does with those. I mean, I really don't.
I think that was set up there in a big complicated.
Well, I mean, I don't know if they're keeping track so that if you get 5 non-reprovables, they go down and ask the board what's going on, or I mean, I just don't know. Yeah, what's the point of it, you know?
Yeah,
Definitely.
that's suffice.
Anything else, Michelle?
I think we're good now.
All right, we're gonna go with other business, in order to get these two ladies here introduced. Would you like to handle that for me?
Yeah, I just found out this morning that we do have a new county extension agent, that's the proper name, out there now, and, maybe
Why don't you
she-
come up in front here and
Come up and,
Hey,
let everybody see you.
yeah.
I was surprised.
You were surprised? Good.
So we're out. That's a hard, that's a hard.
This is a hot seat, I've never been here. Okay, shoot away.
So it's Dan,
Danielle Walker.
and you,
And you're president, or having a teacher in Scott County.
Right. I just finished my 6th year at Scottsburg as the FA advisor and ag teacher there. Started today at Washington County, so I'm excited. I've lived here my entire life, 5 years at Purdue, with a degree, so I'm excited to be back in Washington County. Love it. This is where I want to be, so.
we'll take this opportunity to welcome you here.
Well, thank you.
you've been acquainted with your different commissions as far as your position. And we'll see you in Plan Commission tomorrow.
Tonight, you want me at 6 or 7?
That's up to your discretion.
Okay, no, that's fine. I'd heard that from the very beginning, that today was the meeting, and so I'll be there. Brad Shelton had the binder, I'm gonna look through the card.
We usually work with baptism by fire.
Okay?
Literally.
I've heard that, I've heard that. Yes. If there's anything I can do or you need from me, just let me know. I'll do anything that I can, I just wanna know what's expected of me, and then that way I know what I need to do.
I have two plans I want you to identify.
Okay, sure, bring it in, we'll try our best.
The good thing about the local extension of it is you have direct contact with her, don't you? And they can go up, I'm sure you probably would know these plans. I did have a guy approach me this week, he said, can you tell me what these are? I don't have any idea. And that's a good thing about the county extension office, that you have a direct line. For what's worth, yeah.
You say you're
Just
back
call
home,
those plans.
you're back home, who's there?
Yeah, great, like I use.
Jim and Sherry Howell, my great grandma Sherry, and Reed and Candace Howell, my grandparents. Yeah,
You got an idea?
Okay, Danielle, well, thank you for coming over, well,
Thank you, good luck, good luck.
okay, so let's go around this table first. Has anybody got any comments or anything you want to bring up this morning around this table before we move to the audience?
I just want to make one comment. Whenever we've been working around this Community Bridge Fund and stuff, and I talked to Sarah a little bit in her Blue Door meeting in there. We, for clarification in there, we had a balance of the Community Bridge Fund that when we left that meeting was about $199,000. But whenever we come back in, I'm finishing up some Blue River project stuff in there, and it was asked in there by the secretary about what we had done in that. And I said, well, you ought to be in pretty good shape with that Cumulative Bridge Fund, you know, up to about $199,000. And they had kind of a baffled look on their face. So they pulled a report out, and it showed a balance of $5,882 in that account. After talking with Sarah in that, and this is a little bit cumbersome because of how the computer and the accounting process goes, and is that the sheet that those entities get, as far as those heads of those departments, they get a sheet that works with their budgeted totals in there, not the actual financial balances that are in the account, you know, in there. So what we did whenever we pulled that money from Bridge 113, we sucked $255,000 out of that account that was budgeted for that year, which made it a very drastic difference in what they could actually look at doing. And then that's what that department head has to work with, is look at this figure of what's been budgeted. But knowing that they've got work to do out there and stuff, and as far as the county council, when we left our meeting, we felt like that Cumulative Bridge Fund and what we had done put a pretty good balance, $199. But the budget, the people that are on department heads that are laying sewers and doing bridge repairs have a total different report to work with that shows only $5,882. I would like to get to a point where we have more clarification, you know, of actual balances and what we're doing. I know the State Board of Accounts looks at budgets and what's moved out here. We had a special circumstance, maybe we did the right way or wrong way as far as getting this balance back up. But in a report for department heads to work with, it did not show a reflective figure of what cash balances were in there. And I don't think it was a reflection of what the county council felt like we put that Cumulative Bridge Fund in. Because I had these two reports, June the 4th at 2:00 p.m. and one at 1:57. Our report showed $199,000 in there. And, you know, as far as our totals in there at 1:57 p.m. Then a report that was sent to the County Highway Department June 4th at 2:00 p.m. showed a balance of $5,882. My assumption whenever I looked at that that this figure transacted into this figure, and that's not the case.
How did that 100,000 that we put in versus that 100,000 we paid out work into that number? I mean, there was a bridge from days gone by that we had to pay the 100,000. Was that on their report or?
It come out of their report right there, and I guess that it actually come out of this financial report, but what we put back in there didn't reflect back into their budgeted material.
So it wasn't as simple as the 100,000 went in but didn't show out on their report or something like that.
Correct.
100,000 went in, but then it came back out.
And it come back out on that report. And that 199,000 we was looking at, that had that 100,000 in it also. So that 100,000 already been.
In current shape right now for the month, there was been $97,762 that's been dispersed out this month. So there's actually work being done and stuff, but this is confusing, you know, and as far as department heads, as far as working with it, and then also as the county council, having a true reflection of what we feel when we leave this meeting today about what these departments have got to work with. And I just stumbled on this, you know, I just stumbled on this because they were looking for clarification while I was in there doing other business, and I was confused. That's the reason I asked Sarah, and I wanted the county council to know that these type of things, whenever we do that, pull money out to pay money for things that's been done in the past, and we take out of the budget, is not a real clean science for those department heads to work with for the rest of the year.
So how do we fix it?
Well, I don't like State Board of Accounts accounting process.
You
I
don't?
really don't.
I mean, you don't fix it, because that's, yeah, that,
You know,
you're looking at the way State Board of Accounts looks at it
You know.
as opposed to the way a business looks at it.
Understanding that in a business, and I'll get reprimanded for that comment again.
I'm not making any comment on it.
Yeah, it is a very cumbersome, non-reflective type of accounting system.
Gerald, are you all clear on it?
Yeah, there is none in it.
Well, you said it the best way at the beginning. What you said is budget, office holders look at budget figures, whether we got money or not.
Right.
I mean, whether you got actual cash in hand, which we do, don't misunderstand. I mean, but office holders and state BGOF look at the budget amounts. They don't look at what you got in the checkbook. They just really don't. Once you pass your budget, you're good to go. And then somewhere along the line, yeah, the two finally start catching up. But yeah, none of you around this table look at that. You look at a budget and think, well, it'd be nice to do that. Now let me go check my checkbook and see if I can do that. DGOF doesn't look at that. As long as you got the budget and you're within your budget, go write the check. I mean, it's like the old blonde joke, you know, how can I be out of money? I still got checks in the checkbook.
Or Blackhead.
Or Blackheader or Redhead or whatever. Yeah. My
My
wife's blonde or something. Yeah, I mean, it's like, but it's like the old joke. I mean, you know, how can I be out of money? I still got checks.
So what my question is on the physical aspects in there, if Gerald goes ahead and utilizes money and does lay sewers in before we lay new blacktop on top of it, or do bridge repair before new blacktop is put in, and he goes past, and he will be past these budgeted items, what happens?
He can't spend more than what's in his budget line item.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there be,
right here.
Without doing an additional.
there's where it hits the wall to some degree. As long as he's in his budgeted item, the concept is that no matter when you spend it, as long as you're in your budgeted amount, the dollars will come. Now, they may not come until December 31st. You know, they may not come until that November draws, but they will come. And that's what DOF is basing on when you pass a budget and they review stuff. Okay? You're gonna allow, Gerald, we're picking on you, okay? We're not picking on you, but that's the example. We're gonna allow highway $400,000. In July, their draw's only gonna be $200,000. But they can go ahead and spend that $400,000 and get $200,000 in the red, because we know that in November, they'll get another $200,000. And therefore, by the end of the year, they will be zeroed out. Now, when you, and that's what drives you guys nuts, when you guys see fund amounts in the red, you're saying, how are they still spending money? DGOF doesn't care, department heads don't care. I got a budget that says I can spend $400,000. And as long as I'm spending no more than that $400,000, the money will come. And yeah, I mean, that's the promise. That's the promise. The money will come.
I disagree with your example. That's how we got in trouble with the Park non-diverting fund.
I don't disagree with
That's how we
that
got in
point.
trouble with a lot of other funds, because the money wasn't there.
Right.
Mark, I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying.
How we get those monies.
I'm saying, no, that's the process of the government accounting system. That's what David doesn't like about it. I don't disagree with what you're saying there. But that's the process. That's why, for the umpteenth time, it's not like a business.
But the wrench in this.
Now, how do you fix it? It's difficult for you to fix because you don't put that system in place, DGOF does. I mean, you can't fix it. Okay, now you can try to get more reports. You can try to look at department heads and say, don't look so much at budget, look at actual cash flow. You can do things like that. Okay, but to quote fix it, you can't, because DGOF, I mean, that's the way the state budget process is set up, and you don't control the state budget process.
Two ways we've always gotten into trouble is on the non-reverting, because Ben is right, that money comes from another source. That's money you're expecting to bring in through gate receipts and sales and all that, and you may not match that up. The other place we've always gotten into trouble is the
82.
That's right.
where we either don't appeal them like we didn't do with the bridge fund, or we ignore them like we've done in the past. And we go ahead and spend what we originally budgeted, even though it's not approved in the final approval.
Well, no, don't say it that way. It's approved, you just don't have the cash flow to
No,
support.
we've spent money that was not approved.
Well, you've spent over your budget.
In the past.
That's true, okay.
They have cut it, and we
Yeah.
went right on.
When it's
But our
spent,
last
yeah, without looking at
1782
1782.
matched up with our budget.
Yeah,
That's where
The only
we
thing
got
they
in trouble
adjusted
right
was
there.
some rates to
years
assess
ago.
but the
not
levy
recent.
was the same. So this year that we're operating on right now, they approved what we asked for.
Right.
But
And you've done that in, I mean, the bad check user fee is another example of that. That's right, Mark. I mean, I'm not, again, not disagreeing with you that there have been incidences where we've depended on fees, particularly the fee concept coming in, and when people don't have it because of the economy or who they are, or they just don't want to pay it or whatever, then we get stuck. That's exactly right.
the wrench in this gear for this year with this is that we paid $255,000 off for Bridge 113. That was a non-budgeted item for this budget, and we pulled it out to pay that. So realistically, whatever shell game we did to, move things around, we ultimately lost $255,000 workable funds for this particular budget.
But we just paid what should have already been paid.
Correct.
But
So, I mean, in the shell game that we did, as far as moving things around to make them look good, the ultimate realistic figure is that we pulled $255,000 of physical money out to be physically used this year.
Oh, I gotta bite my tongue. My question is, if that's what you feel about that $250,000, what happened to the $850,000 that was spent a few years ago when we didn't have, when we were not approved to spend? What shell game do we use then?
reference to $850,000, what particular line item are you talking?
Edit.
Edit?
We had a budget that had $850,000 in edit that was cut by the 1782 notice.
Okay.
We never went back and appropriated $850,000 anyway, but we spent it.
I don't know.
I don't know that any of us would have an answer to that that's sitting here that wasn't part of that 50,000 transition. So with that said, is there any other thing around that table?
I just wanted to bring that up.
Okay.
I had a question of Sarah. Sarah, it used to be that we could go to the weed board, and at the end of the weed board's thing, there was the total for the general fund. Can we not do that now that COID has been pulled, or CASH has been pulled out? Or is there any place, any budget we can look at that at the end will summarize the total for the general fund?
Once they decide, some of them,
We got,
originally you had one, and once they decide what they're
I've got
gonna
this sheet
pay.
here that tells me what it is. You remember how we used to look at the weed board, though, and at the end of the weed board, it would have all the summary for the general fund, the total amount. It's just on this page now.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
because, yeah,
scattered too much, now we got scattered.
That's all we're doing.
I can give you totals of what the totals would be. Okay.
I'm not so sure that I have the cover sheet.
You'll get a new one once,
All this is approved, so we gotta do. Is this the book we'll be working on?
yes, that will be the book.
I'll vote when we do the hearing. I'll grab a sheet. Any other questions around this table or any comments that need to be made?
Different subject, clarification. We approved 9,000 on this urine screen deal. That's additional? Is that, that's additional? Well, how's
But it comes to us.
So it going in?
It's coming out of the user fee fund, the urine screen fund into the general fund.
Okay.
Yes. That's how they pay us for
Rent
the
to
rent.
ourselves on this
Okay,
deal.
we got 30,000. Okay,
Yeah.
understand.
Okay, if there's no further questions around this table, I'll move to the audience. And John, I'll start with yourself.
Yeah, we've been concerned about our land acquisition, 20%. Sarah was gonna contact Renfrew Shire. Did you ever get a reply on him?
I emailed him.
Is that for the bypass, John?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I emailed him. I have not heard back, well, I've heard back from him, but I have not got the answer I want yet. When I come back from vacation, if I have not heard from him, I will shoot him another email.
Actually, they have not acquired all the properties at this time.
Is there still one
There's
litigation?
two,
I have no
that's still in
idea.
litigation.
One pending.
Two might be one of them. There's two pending right now.
Also, most of you know by now that we got a good report, the last hospital board meeting about the overpayment. And, you know, it started out something like 1.5 million, and John Lyons got it down to a little over 70,000, so. If we see at the end of the year, there's some way of paying that back, they've been very good to our county to keep the doors open. I feel like it will try to pay back as much as we can in 2012. That's all I have.
Comment on that.
We have a way to pay that this year.
They've been very good to us. That's all I have.
But it's not a big thing. It's the state wagering revenue share over the years has built up a balance that it should be enough to take care of that.
And that would be our intent, I think, between the auditor's office and kind of come up with that, so. We should be able to, that's our intent, that's what we're looking at right
I
now.
know they said they worked with us, but they've been good to us.
We would
That
like
was
to-
the plan, but, yeah,
We would like to clean it up, I think.
That's good.
but, yeah.
Mr. Treasurer,
Basically, all I've got to say, we collected, right at 54% of the total tax.
of the tax billing, so we're a little over
That's personal,
in real estate.
real estate,
one-time payments that go to, was it Harrison County or? There were several points of pay, I guess.
Yeah,
This year.
yeah, I had 5 different ways we can pay, but, the line never did get past the elevator, so let's see that.
But we took in 4% more than half.
Then what was owed, yeah.
Yeah, so we kind of project out what we think we might get towards the end of the year. Okay. Anything else, Bob?
No, that's all.
Marcia, I'll go right ahead.
Bob, do you have any idea what the total exemption figure would amount to?
No, I have to look it up, see.
You have that figure accessible to it?
I think I can, I'll check and see.
I'd like to, just for curiosity to see.
Sarah? George? Anything on the park?
It looks like it's booming out there. I did want to get your also personal opinion, so you can give it or not, about the foresting. We had it looked like it had settled at the last meeting, but still there was an emphasis about money that the park needs. So as your representative, I'd just like to know how you guys feel. Should that come back up again? I personally don't want to see it forested unless it's A, needed, or B, we keep the park open. But I'd like to know what you guys think. Like I said, I know it's.
Let me respond in this way and not try to put you on. We would be more interested in your recommendations to the commissioners as how you're gonna do that, as to be somewhat subjective today about how we would feel about that. If that answers your question, I know it don't, but this is something we feel that you as a board need to hash that out with yourselves and take it to the commissioners, you know, because those are the folks, that is the executive branch, and then that would come to us, and then if we had to make some decision, based off of information, we'd make a decision.
And George, I do think it needs to be said that one of the things that that board needs to really look at that is if it's done, big if, but if it's done, you probably really need to get with the DGOF rep for the county to see how they would treat those funds received in the year that you get them.
But it's in the non-reverting fund, so it's not gonna.
Okay, so, well, I mean, that's my point. Can they designate it that it would go into the non-reverting? And DGOF says, yes, they can, they can do that.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't want it to be under, what, line 13?
No.
Miscellaneous income or something, and then really mess it up.
No.
But if they can designate it as non-reverting, then that's great. And if DGOF will recognize that, that's my whole question about that. Okay.
We had discussed that when they came to one of our meetings, and it was unanimous among us that we should not log at this time. That's what
Your commissioner is smoking.
And I'll make a comment, just as being a council member, is looking at your budget, you are in a very proactive method as far as paying down. And there was some discrepancy as far as how the accounting process, and you've heard other discussion of some of the accounting process of government, but you guys are paying the debt down considerably. You still have an operating type of money, even though it shows a negative figure on the financial. Their goal is to produce principal about $25,000 or $30,000 a year, paying your debt down. You've currently done a budget process, and as seeing that, I hope we see a reflection of those type of endeavors being done. But it looks like it's been in a positive direction, you know, as far as the county council, I say for myself, I'm well pleased in the direction. I don't think it would be necessary at this particular time to make a drastic step, because I think you're making steps that are small, that are in the correct manner to put that park back in better financial status.
I've got a comment, George. We make most of our money on certain holidays throughout the year in the parks, and down in Harrison County, we're having a bad 4th of July this year because it falls in the middle of the week, and the weather. How are we doing as far as our
the other night, and the beach was full, and they drove back through the campground, and they were pretty full, so Jerome said he can't hardly get the places, the cabins cleaned out.
So the weather and
Rent 'em again.
midweek's not affecting,
That probably has some effect, but,
Actually, I think it would be a boon because you'd have people, if it's on a weekend, may go someplace else where they may be more attracted to a closer source. That's just
we
my
were
thoughts.
way down this past weekend in Harrison County for 4th of July, so.
I know what Jerome told me, he said he had booked, because the way the 4th runs, like this weekend, he had a lot booked for this weekend, and now he has a lot booked for this coming weekend
Just the
because,
opposite, so it's good.
yeah.
That's good.
I tell you what, I've been down there a couple of times
We're having a bad week.
to eat, and I tell you what, there's been a crowd each and every time I've been down there.
We're good.
They've done a great job, as everybody's testified so far. The biggest problem I see is Jerome is overworked, and they need to somehow or other get him some time off out there. He just working night and day and overtaxed with the job, so that's something they need to address.
Does Jerome have a vehicle, parked vehicle he drives? That truck that has a letter on
It's got lettering on it.
you guys, we gotta make Jerome take off though. I mean, I told him I'd be happy to come down on a slower day and oversee things if I could wear my plastic sheriff badge I got from the fair.
I don't think we can sanction it. do we?
I kinda have a feeling.
He hadn't taken me up on that. I don't know when would be a good time for him to do that, but certainly as a board member, I wouldn't mind give him even a weekend off. But he's got to take it. If you make that offer, he's got to leave.
That's just my opinion, but I think that's just Jerome. He's concerned and wants to be there. No, that's just my opinion. But it looked pretty good. Now, I did see some cabins that didn't look occupied, but you wander down through there into the woods and all, there's a lot of them. And then I'd suggest any of you that go out there to drive up and around where the campsite, the trailers, the full trailers and all were in there.
Full-time.
I couldn't distinguish between full-time, part-time, or whatever, but well, I could if I'd have put that close enough to this.
You just look at the amount of rental fees they've collected this year on those sites versus past years, and it's,
Well, if there's a site this weekend, I might come down.
To John Dees, and we aren't currently using work release guys from the detention center. I haven't had a chance to sit down with Jerome and see how he feels about that, but Claude did get us some people who are in there for, non-drug issues or something. I saw Jerome when we were leaving the meeting the other night picking up cigarette butts, and he's got too much to do. Some of those work release guys could be down there doing that sort of work to keep him from having to
you
do
as
it.
a board, keep working with Jerome and keep working with each other, because that's the way things are gonna get done down there, is you guys collaborating together, making things happen, which I think you are. It's not bad to have a difference of opinion, because that's how things keep on the straight and narrow type deal, and I think you guys are doing a relatively good job with that, so I would encourage you to keep that going. Anything else, George? Anything else for it, George?
One other quick question. George, have you heard anything at all about any meals being half price to anybody, or I know that was a big complaint we've had years ago.
That'd be up to the guy leasing the restaurant.
If I got the restaurant wants to do that, that's his pocket.
Yeah.
Well, with the contract, that should rectify it. Yeah.
And he's doing fairly decent, I think. Comments that I got, just discussions I've had with him. He opened up a little side window that he's selling out of, and that kind of boosted his.
I know him, and we talked to him, and I think he was pretty well satisfied, but he thought maybe he'd stay open this winter, and I didn't have a chance to comment to him, but I don't know if that would be, that's just me talking, but I don't know if it'd be that much happening in the winter. If he is making money now, that might drain him for the first 6 months. Just a thought.
But that'd certainly be up to his
It
discretion.
will be.
I mean, we would appreciate the, I mean.
Right.
But I would want him to be able to
Cop out.
be successful
Right.
to keep that going the way.
But as far as the, sheet, we can't think what it's called, your different selections of food.
Menu.
Menu, it was broad, and there was 9 of us, and I didn't hear that first complaint. And it surprisingly, well, it wouldn't be surprising, I guess, but he's drawing a lot of business from Harrison County because he's from Harrison County.
That's the reason we're getting them up here for that.
Yeah.
Mission accomplished.
I had a quiet weekend.
But, you know, there's 9 of us, and I know 2 other couples have been there 3 times from Harrison County, maybe before, but anyway. And others, I think there was a party from Will and Harrison County, so all that ties in Washington County.
There's a nice atmosphere there.
There's your explanation.
Gerald, you got anything today, sir?
If you guys got any extra money, we'd sure like to have it.
Any comments on that? Something about extra money.
What percentage or what process are you doing right now as far as paving right now?
The first is paving some today down by Beacon. The log yard down there went on vacation. But no trucks coming in, so they're paving down there today. And it's getting ready to wrap up. for the year.
What road?
They're doing some on Hurst and stretch of old section of old road there by Sorority. They're doing that.
What about the sealing process? Are you doing much of that?
They just done the one in the third, they haven't done the second or first yet.
Okay. What about this new thought process of the old aggregate? Is that, any of that being done?
We haven't done any yet. There's about 150 ton at Temples. That's not near enough to do what he wants to do. We understand they're gonna, when the bypass is complete, they're going to mill from the stoplight to the bypass. We're hoping to get those millings for there to do what they want to do in the car.
Who are you using for a consulting process and doing that?
Well, I know one of the people working for the state got some influence there.
All right.
Anything else, Gerald?
That'd be it for now.
It's come up before, but if we institute any sort of quality assurance program for the county highway department, when we pay money, are we assured of getting the thickness and the quality that we're supposed to get?
In the second, I can tell you what it's supposed to be.
You doing cores? You doing cores samples?
They do that, and I'm there when they let down. They check it every so often. You get a gauge.
What about the composition? Does that get done in the cores or what?
I think so, yes.
How often do you do that?
They check it over every once in a while.
Do we get reports on that, or you send it off, what do you do?
They do their own checking out there. They have their own lab and everything.
Where?
Temples.
Is there any independent quality assurance program?
I think they just do their own out there, as far as I know. It's state qualified.
So the foreman cannot vary the amount of binder in the asphalt?
No, if I tell them I want 2 inches, that's what I want.
No, I'm talking about the composition of the asphalt. Do the foreman in each district have the ability to vary or change the amount of binder in the asphalt?
No, you tell them what you want, that's what it is. It's either 8 state or 9 surface or 8 surface or whatever.
Does each district?
Each one tells them whatever he wants. Each foreman does it different.
The answer is yes.
Yes.
The answer is yes, they vary the composition of what we buy.
Yeah, you can tell them what you want to lay down.
So if we can vary the composition, how do we meet all the standards?
They have different standards for each one of their mixes. You get several different mixes. You just choose what's best for the road you're working on. Some of them can use surface, some of them got to have binder. Depends on your traffic.
Depends on what Gerald said.
Traffic flow, semis versus cars. Wait.
Any other questions for Gerald?
pretty good. He should be here tomorrow for the meeting tomorrow. He is taking dialysis 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
How long will he have to do that?
Until he gets another transplant, from what I understand.
Are you talking about kidney transplant?
Yes.
Okay, no further questions? Mr. Green? Ms. Green?
I've gone ahead, they've approved it during the commissioner meeting, the last commissioner meeting, to go ahead and start developing a Google Apps account for the county, and to go ahead and figure it out so that people, the departments have access to a calendar that's open to the public, and other document kind of things like spreadsheets and other document kind of things. I haven't had time. I've been doing several things this last 2 weeks. My business doubled this last 2 weeks, and so I've been struggling to try to get it under control. So I should have time in the next 2 or 3 weeks to go ahead and put out a basic framework, pass it by Mr. Clark and Mr. Cyphers to see if there's anything that I'm doing that would be detrimental to the community. And then go ahead to each department and see what they need to have. It's going to cost about $60 a year. You can have unlimited amount of people on it, a limited amount of access or not access. What I'm also going to do is to open up a Weebly account, which is a website kind of thing. And I'm going to go ahead and donate $27 for the year, or for 6 months, to see if, say like the park board wants to go and put up a website that they can actually take money from, that kind of thing. And see if that's an option that would be open to not only the Parks Board, but to the Tourism Board and other things. So this whole thing is going to be developed so that the departments have more access, direct access to the community through all of these applications. Do you have any questions?
I just have the one question.
Yes.
You know, when we have to post our hearings and those kind of things,
Right.
this is not a substitute for doing that the way we're obligated by law to do it now.
The way you have to do it by law is to have the agenda or whatever posted 2 days or 48 hours before the meeting itself. You don't have to actually post it on the meeting door. So this can actually be, if you can get all the departments that actually are supposed to post their meetings on the door or what have you, if they go ahead and list on the calendar, to pass the open door laws, you can have, say I'm sure Michelle would love doing this every morning, just printing off a list of all the meetings off of the calendar and put it up someplace standard in the courthouse. That would cover everybody in all the departments on the open door law. As long as you have it in one place where it's open to the public, that would actually cover that 48-hour notice on the door. What actually happens is if you have it on the websites, all the calendars on the websites, then that information gets out and you don't have people who are irritated enough to come after you and turn you into the open door laws. You see what I'm saying? That would actually help.
See, these are the things that Mark and Tom needs to be looking at, is those items. So if we're doing it traditionally the way we're doing it, that we don't get into some kind of a legal deal over this.
Right.
That's what I would look at or be looking at.
That's exactly right. And so if that can take the place of actually posting on the door of whatever meeting house, it's just like with the Parks Board. Not that you're doing anything wrong, they posted on they post the meetings, have already posted the meetings on the gatehouse. Okay? Well, no one in the public really knows when it happens. Okay? And it takes me a half hour to get down there. And a half hour back in my big Ruby car, which costs me a lot of money, because that's the only one that's riding right now. But, to have that information out to the public, so that you don't go down and have a false turnaround, go down there and the meeting's not then, or what have you, even though it's on the gatehouse, it'll be on the internet also. And it should be, posted that way. But yes, you can go ahead, to answer your question, you can use this to go ahead and have a master list of meetings that all Michelle or Sarah has to do is push print every morning, and it should come out that way. If that's what you want to do. But what my job is to go ahead and get this infrastructure up so that you guys, and see if you guys can use it or not.
Marcia, did you have a comment?
You'd still have to, I think.
I still have to notify, you still have to notify
You
the
would still
paper.
have to post it
Yeah.
at the location of it.
We'd still have to do it traditionally, the way
Oh,
we've
yeah,
always
this
done it.
doesn't
Yeah.
replace that.
But if we did, for some reason, get it on this, it wouldn't be a violation if it didn't get on the Google Apps type deal.
Right, it's not a,
No.
No.
but yeah,
But
they'll-
it has to be hard placed on.
It has to be, we have to follow,
Still
that's,
have to do that.
that's the verification or clarification.
But there
This
is-
will not replace this, this is just an addition to that.
the Google Apps themselves does not replace the notice on the door, but there is a section in the open door laws that say that if the meeting this is not a consistently, area that you meet in, you can either post it on the door of the meeting room that you're having it in, or you can go ahead and designate a place in the offices of the government that say, and post it there. That is in the open door laws. But that's another thing too. It's not a bad idea to go ahead and post it there also.
Who's gonna attend the commissioners meeting tomorrow? Or who would enjoy attending the commissioners meeting tomorrow?
I'll go.
John? And we really haven't been looking out on that second meeting. Does anybody want to go to that second meeting?
What's the date?
John, tell me the date.
It'd be 17th.
Either day after my surgery. I'll try.
That'll be August 17th.
July,
July, I'm sorry.
July.
What time y'all meet?
9 o'clock.
I think I could make that one, 17th at 9 AM.
Okay, with all that said, do I have a motion to? You're my go-to guy.
Time tomorrow, John.
Urban?
Second.
All those in favor? Yeah. Meeting adjourned. Thank you all for coming today.
And I will be on vacation starting tonight.